Sup guys, having just completed the main questline of the new Island Planner mode, I wanted to share my impressions, both good and bad, of my experience thus far. First and foremost, I need to mention that this is a completely different game from the Azur lane we've come to know over the past 8 years. So someone who might be very knowledgeable about the base game might not necessarily be as knowledgeable about this game mode. I am of course referring to myself here, as I'm a complete casual and actually started progressing a week after the mode released because my game is in Japanese, and while I can somewhat read Japanese, in order to fully understand everything that is going on, I would have had to search multiple kanji by radicals every other mission, and I don't have the time for that right now, so I just waited a week for other players to get ahead and see if I can follow their footsteps and not make any big mistakes progression-wise. I don't consider myself to be knowledgeable at all, and there's a lot of shops and recipes I have yet to unlock, and I definitely don't know what the most efficient tasks are, but here are a couple of resources that might be helpful to you if you're also just wandering in the dark like I am. First is MrLar's database, which has a lot of information, including how character stats are actually used in the game's calculations. In general, I found a lot of the information here to be specifically helpful to me because I can read a couple of phrases in the quests and research in the game in Japanese, and then Control F the keywords to find all the information of whatever quest or research it is I'm looking for in English. Aside from that though, it's just a very expansive and easy to navigate source of information. Not super sure if it's complete, but I don't know what other better source of information there is right now. Another resource is this spreadsheet made by Riceist, which includes more detailed calculations on profit of combo sales, some tips on resource management, and locations for your daily material gathering, and so on. Feel free to look over it on your own time. Okay, now, the things that I like about this mode are first and most importantly the visuals. I really like the art style, it's cute and expressive without being too detailed, and it's perfect in my opinion. I like the way this mode looks a lot better than the 3D dorm. There isn't really much else to say on this topic, aside from the fact that, yeah, it looks really good, but I don't exactly play games of this genre or style, so I'm not comparing it to similar games and saying this one stands above the rest or anything like that. Another thing that I like about the game mode is that there's a lot more depth than I expected, and this is just the beginning. I personally thought it was going to have about as much depth as the 3D dorm, but no. This mode actually goes on seemingly forever, and it might not be a good thing to some people as it does take quite a lot of time investment compared to what we've had to do in terms of daily missions so far. But if you have the time, then there are a lot of things you can go around and do, at least up to the completion of the main quest line, but even after that, there is still a ton of stuff to be unlocked it seems. Now, while I do enjoy the idea and kind of the soul of the game mode, I do have a lot of issues with it as well. For some of the issues I raise, it might be a matter of me just not knowing certain facts, since I'm playing it a bit casually, and if that is the case, feel free to correct me in the comments. With that being said, my two biggest issues with the game mode are how difficult it is to obtain characters, and then the amount of information that is not being presented as you progress through the game. I'm personally investing time in the mode to collect characters, and everything else is just a means to that end. From the start of the game mode to this point, where I've finished the main quest, I've only unlocked Saratoga and New Jersey, with Tashkent right around the corner. After Tashkent, it seems like it's going to take even longer to unlock the next character, as progression seems like it should slow down without the EXP and coins gained from the main quests. However, characters are quite important as they're much more efficient at tasks than the Manju. The earlier you unlock additional characters, the faster your progression will be, but as far as the unlockable characters from just playing the game goes, so far it appears like it's going to take forever. With just the 2 characters I have unlocked so far, they occupy less than 20% of the posts that are available, the rest of which are being handled by the Manju. This is where the gacha comes in as a way to rocket your progress if you're able to obtain the characters early on. Now, locked behind the gacha are Cheshire, Unicorn, and Amagi-chan. With Cheshire and Unicorn being 2 of my favorite characters in the game, and I really want to get them if possible. I added up the gacha tickets you can get from season missions and the season store, assuming that you can even afford to spend 600,000 coins by the end of the season to buy all the tickets, and that's still just 50 tickets. I made the mistake of tossing a few rolls into the gacha with gems, doing 50 pulls in total, and I got jack diddly. 0 out of 10 terrible experience, and I would not recommend. It triggered my gacha PTSD that came from other gacha games, which I'm playing Azur lane to avoid. The rates are not listed anywhere, so I'm assuming that the chance of getting any one item is equal. And at the beginning, you have about a 1.7% chance of obtaining a character from the gacha, increasing as you remove items from the pool by drawing them. But having pulled 51 times, the odds of hitting a character is still only 2.5%. This is not only much lower than the rates we're used to in the base game construction of 7% for an SSR, but on top of that, we're only limited to 50 tickets at max as well. There's a very high chance that as a free-to-play player, assuming you clear out the shop tickets, which will run you 600k gold, you won't even sniff one of the characters from the gacha. This is further exacerbated by the other problem, which is that you can't really see where you will be as you progress. At the level of progression I'm at currently, it's a struggle to gather 20k gold to do research, so it seems totally impossible to save up 200k gold just for 10 gacha tickets. With the information provided in-game, it's impossible to tell whether gold production will ramp up enough to be able to afford these tickets by the end of the season. Even with the additional information that you can access from resources like the two I mentioned earlier, it still takes a lot of effort to calculate how much gold you'll be producing at each stage of development and predict if you'll be able to afford the tickets. Something that is completely unreasonable to expect of an average player who just wants to collect their favorite characters. The way I see it right now, I for sure really want to get at least Unicorn and Cheshire, and even if I somehow manage to get the 50 tickets from the seasonal shop, the chances that I'll be able to get them is still very low, and even though I should probably wait until the end of the season to see if I can get them by chance, if I get them right now, it will speed up my progress by a lot, so it's creating this feeling of FOMO, which I think is unhealthy in the long run, and I really want this mode to succeed. I think that the pity at 85 should not be for outfits, and the free tickets should at least be able to guarantee everyone at least one character in the gacha per season, as opposed to 50 tickets that guarantee absolutely nothing, as evidenced by my 50 pulls. I really hope to see the lack of pulls obtainable outside of gems and the gacha system changed going forward, and I hope that as I progress through the game, it turns out that you don't have to spend as much time as I have in the past week to obtain most of the rewards, because so far, it seems like the amount of effort you need to put into the mode is not anywhere near the reward that you end up getting. Just in case it's not clear, I'm only really looking to collect my favorite characters, so the reward I'm talking about are the gacha characters that could potentially go away for a long time if you're not able to obtain them by the end of the season. The next point that I want to bring up are these missions that stall your progress where you can't complete until much later than when they first appear. I don't remember at what level exactly I started getting these transport missions that asked for carrots. It might have been 15 or even before, but since getting them, I've not been able to progress as far as the transport missions go, so I wanted to unlock them as soon as possible from research. It turns out that in order to unlock carrot research, you have to first research citrus fruits, then plant some apples and use them to research bananas, then plant bananas and use them to research mangoes, then plant mangoes and also research strawberries to research lemons, and then after that you have to plant lemons so you can research avocados, and then finally after all that, I realized that I was so occupied with the prerequisites that I overlooked the fact that I'm not level 21 yet, so I still can't research carrots. By the way, all those steps that I just mentioned didn't really help me with anything else other than eventually being able to research carrots, and planting the fruit trees costed a lot of gold on top of the researches themselves that I did not have enough money left over to do my level 20 research to unlock Tashkent. All of this could have been avoided if the game didn't dangle some carrot missions in front of my face when I wasn't anywhere close to level 21 yet. Okay, the last point I want to bring up is the amount of going back and forth for some of the quests. I swear I had one quest that asked me to go to the cafe, and then to the farm, and then back to the cafe, and then to the plains, and then back to the cafe, and then back to the farm, and then back to the cafe or something like that. And then at each point, you would also have to run from where you land when you teleport to a zone all the way to the NPC. I don't really think all that running is necessary, so I hope there will be quality of life updates in that regard, and also the task management menu should just be available from the start because, again, I don't think running back and forth to complete tasks is the thing that I want to be spending the most time doing. Okay, I think that's about it for now. I brought up a lot of issues, and I'm sure a lot of other players have the same feelings and maybe even other issues on top, but I hope things can take a turn for the better because I really want this mode to succeed. If anything else comes up, I'll make more videos on it, hopefully positive ones, but I likely won't make guides on the mode for a bit as I'm just playing casually. Feel free to share your thoughts in the comments as well. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next one.